Do you ever get that itch to play a classic Zelda, but you've played so much that you need a new take on the formula? Enter Ocean's Heart, an indie game from developer Max Mraz and published by Nordcurrent on February 10th for the Switch and last January on Steam. Ocean's Heart does an excellent job of scratching that Zelda itch while having personality and gameplay all of its own. Exploring the islands of the archipelago is a true joy as you discover hidden caves, lost dungeons, and items around every corner. The game allows you to explore most of the world, with few exceptions, right after the prologue, which gives us an open world vibe. I often found myself paying no attention to whatever quest I was on, as I would find something interesting and take off to explore it. Sometimes this would be a cave partially obscured by foliage, a new environment, an intriguing puzzle, or an ancient ruin. Ocean's Heart rewards you for being curious too, as oftentimes these diversions lead to health upgrades, materials to upgrade your weapons, or other useful items and materials. One hidden area even lets you increase the difficulty of the game in several ways if you're looking for a challenge. I felt like I was dropped into Link's Awakening or Link to the Past for the first time again, not knowing where to find my next heart container or how to get to a unique area. The developer has done a fantastic job of giving me a world I couldn't stop exploring. When it comes to Ocean's Heart's story, we have a fairly typical RPG plot, but the game does a good job of telling it and gradually introduces plot points. I stayed curious to see what would happen next, but where this game really shined was the dialogue. It was so witty and hilarious. The game doesn't take itself too serious and makes good fun of some RPG tropes. Our heroine, Tilia, is a no-nonsense girl, and that attitude really comes out in the dialogue. Almost every conversation with NPCs is entertaining. I found myself actually wanting to talk to everyone in a new town just to see what they would say and how Tilia would respond. The writing in Ocean's Heart gives the characters in its world personality, something that you typically don't see a lot of in these games. The next area of gameplay, character progression, ties back into the exploration aspect of the game, as the more you explore, the more upgrades you can find and purchase. Health upgrades come by defeating bosses or finding hidden shrines around the world, and weapon upgrades are done by finding coral ore and crowns, the game's currency. Your armor can also be upgraded by buying better armor and improving the armor that you already have at an armorer. There are a few items that can be upgraded as well, such as bomb arrows for your bow, or an explosive upgrade for your flail. Using your sword and items in combat gives another nod to classic Zelda titles, as if you're familiar with the combat in them, you will feel right at home with Ocean's Heart. There is your typical sword swinging action, but you also get access to some other weapons later on that spice up the combat a bit. You also have a rolling dodge that sets it apart from the classic formula as well. Finally, Ocean's Heart features a small crafting system that you can use to make various potions and items. It's a nice addition to the game that can help with tougher fights, as you can craft potions to give you greater resistance or stronger attacks. It is a little light though. I feel like they could have added a little more to the crafting system, but it's interesting all the same. The gameplay is fun and addicting, and I truly enjoyed it. The gameplay gets a 9 out of 10. But before we move on to graphics and sound, please hit that like button if you're finding this review helpful or interesting, and leave a comment down below about your favorite Zelda-like title. Alright, let's move on to graphics. I really like the art style they went with here. The colors are bright and cheerful and add to the fun and laid-back atmosphere of the game. Every region is distinct in its colors and makes you truly feel like you're traveling through different environments. The enemy and NPC sprites look great too, and remind me of that 16-bit era. I did have one issue with the performance though, where I got some dropped frames and some stuttering in a dungeon that had a lot of lighting effects going on in it. It did go away after a few minutes, and I had no issues the rest of my playthrough. Hopefully that's something that the developer can fix, but for now, graphics and performance gets a 7 out of 10. Moving on now to sound. The music throughout was fitting to the environments and well done. From the happy, adventurous tunes while exploring the world and towns, to the darker and mysterious ones while exploring caves, dungeons, and shrines, the music added to the experience in a positive way. The sound of your sword swinging, bombs exploding, and arrows flying, along with all the other sound effects, give you the kind of feedback that makes combat and the game in general all the more addicting. Sound gets a score 8 out of 10. Ocean's Heart gave me a nostalgia for the classic action RPGs that I could not shake, and I enjoyed every moment of exploring its world and talking to its unique and interesting characters. For only $15 on the eShop, you should give this one a try. Ocean's Heart gets an 89 game score of 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.